Hello everyone and welcome back to this Football Manager 2017 experiment where we take a look at what would happen if the top 5 leagues in Europe are all given a 40-odd year transfer ban. Now we're about halfway through the ban at the moment. You can see that in the Premier League the likes of Huddersfield, Brighton, Wolves and Newcastle have been dominating the title race for some time now. Manchester United held in there for quite a while but have now pretty much disappeared. And if we have a look at the Champions League past winners as well, it's the same clubs popping up. Brighton, Wolves, Huddersfield and Newcastle have won the last 6 Champions Leagues. Racing Club de Lens, the only other major team really competing at the highest level. Stuttgart did make the final this year though. And Barcelona and Real Madrid have been carrying on their form, at least in the Liga. Barcelona the only one really succeeding in Europe since the beginning of the experiment. So a lot has happened, and today, at the moment, we're about 22 years from the end of the transfer ban. So today we're going to go forward about 11 or 12 years to that halfway point. And then the part after this one will take us right up to the day of the end of the transfer ban. And then we'll do at least one more part where we look at what has happened 5 to 10 years after the transfer ban has come to an end. So a lot to still go in this experiment. If you guys are still enjoying this and want to see me progress to that point, do drop a like on the video. It's the only way that I know that you guys want to see more. So the more likes we get, the more likely I am to simulate forward another 10 years, because it takes so long with this database because there's so many leagues loaded, and we're so far into the future now. So do let me know by dropping a like on the video. But let's jump forward now and see where we are in about 10 years time. Well, we are now about 13 years in the future. We've gone from 2038 to 2051, which means that today will be the last time we take a detailed look at each of the leagues and where teams have been finishing in the table. Next time, we'll do a quick look at who won the league for the final 9 years, and then we'll start to look at the teams that might be coming back and looking at where they are in their leagues and how much money they might be able to spend to readdress the balance of power in each of the leagues. Now, at the moment, Serie A is the 6th league in Europe. The Portuguese league has jumped up to 5th, above Italy. So we'll look at Italy first. We're only going to have a look at the league. Last time we left off in the 37-38 season, Inter Milan were the title winners. They won it again by a huge margin the year after. Again, 10 points the year after that. Worth keeping an eye on Juventus, who were dropping down towards the bottom, but again, Inter Milan winning the title just by 3 points the following year, and then winning it by 21 points. I don't know how Inter Milan are managing this total dominance, but they have finally lost the title to Roma in the 2043. Juventus actually finishing 2nd that year. The following year, Inter reclaimed their title by 1 goal from Roma, before Juventus finally win a title. It's been so long since they won the league. The following year, Inter Milan do come back, then Roma take it, Inter dropping all the way down to 6th place before coming to win the title again and again and again. And then AC Milan beat them to it, so a bit of a turnaround there. Roma dropping down to mid-table, and AC Milan currently at the top of the league. They are not the winner of the league just yet, but certainly things getting a little bit more interesting. Inter Milan have been dominating the league ever since the start. Good to see Juventus come back and win it. I'm not sure why Inter Milan are dominating, because they're under a transfer ban just like everybody else. But if we look at their senior squad and sort them by valuation, there's not that much value in there. Maybe a few years ago there were, but it's pretty much all Italians, which is good to see that domestic players are now dominating their leagues. But Inter Milan very much the team in charge, and other than Spal coming to win the title, and Atalanta won it one time as well, it's been the established teams who have continued to dominate in Italy, because I guess they have the facilities, they have the stadiums, they have the sponsorship, and so they will continue to dominate in the leagues. But very nice to see that Spal did win the league that one year. They've been a very nice surprise in the Italian league after some very spotty form all over the place. That one league title will go down in history for them. But let's have a look at the Portuguese league next. Well, we're not going to take a detailed look at the Portuguese league because we all pretty much know how it's going to go. Braga won the league so long, taking us right up to the end of last episode just here. They won it again the year after, but Sporting actually came in and took a couple of titles. Braga got one, Benfica got one. Then Braga returned to dominance before Sporting got 2 more, and Braga continued winning the title. So Braga should really be absolutely dominating this league. They're the only team not under a transfer ban at the moment, because we only gave the 3 biggest clubs in Portugal the transfer ban, but their finances are only okay. That's the difficulty, is that they are spending a bit too much money, currently managed by Toby Alderweireld, which is quite funny, but you can see their history of absolute dominance in the Portuguese league, just that 1 year where they finished 3rd, letting them down. But if we look at their competition screen, you can see there's all their titles now stacking up. The first one coming in 2022, and they've won it ever since then, pretty much. 1 Europa League in there as well, the Taça de Portugal in there. So quite a lot of competitions. They're the teams who have really benefited in Portugal from this transfer embargo. Now, Liga are the 4th biggest league in Europe, and at the moment they're being dominated by Racing Club de Lens. PSG finished 16th when we left off last time, avoiding relegation by just 2 points. The following year, they again avoided relegation. Racing Club de Lens, 102 points, 30 points clear of Monaco, and they won it again the year after, 22 points clear. Then 22 points clear. They're just absolutely dominant at the moment. Won it again, 7 points clear. PSG recovering and then dropping down again, 4 points off the bottom 2. But Racing Club de Lens with another title and another title and another title, winning it by such a huge margin there, 35 points clear. Again, winning it 7 points clear. 20 points clear. At the moment, I'm basically just trying to see if PSG will ever get relegated. It looks like they're holding out at the moment. Actually finished in the Champions League that year, but again, Racing Club de Lens at the top. PSG recovering to 2nd place. But just nobody able to stop Racing Club de Lens, and at the moment this is only halfway through the season, so don't get too excited. But if you look at the past winners of this competition, ever since Racing Club de Lens burst onto the scene in the 25-26 season, they have dominated, missing out on just 1 title. They've won the last 15 or 16 league titles. Monaco won 1, and before that Racing Club de Lens got another 8 or so, and they are without doubt the dominant team in French football, absolutely no doubt about that. Last time we left in Germany, Stuttgart were the champions. Bayern Munich finished down in 7th place. I'm hoping to see them really fall off the table. Hamburg getting relegated as well. The following year, Stuttgart won the title once more ahead of München Lions, and again they held it, with Bayern Munich dropping down to 8th. The following year, they won it again and again and again. They just keep on winning it. They are the dominant team at the moment. Bayern Munich finishing 4th, but nobody able to stop Stuttgart at the moment. They just keep on racking up the title wins. They become the equivalent of Racing Club de Lens before Hanover finally come in and pip them to the title by 1 point, but they return to the top immediately afterwards. Bayern Munich down in 11th place now. Dortmund relegated is a big bit of news. Again, Stuttgart the title winners at the moment. Hamburg top of the league. Stuttgart though absolutely dominating, because they do not have the transfer embargo. And if we look at their senior squad, currently managed by Gabi, they've got a lot of £50 million plus players in there. Unfortunately, a lot of them are German as well. But that is a very impressive squad. I can imagine they've got quite a few Champions Leagues under their belt. Robert Span, the central midfielder, looks phenomenal. He is such a good player, but that is why Stuttgart are able to dominate this league. Bayern Munich currently down in 14th place, but Stuttgart very much in control. Nice to see Hanover get a league title, because it was pretty much all Bayern Munich before München Lions managed to win one. Hanover getting in there as well after finishing 2nd so many years, finally getting in there. München Lions finished 2nd a lot, but they did get a title as well. But Stuttgart very much the dominant team in German football. Now the next big league is Spain. Sevilla had established a period of dominance when we left off last time, but they fell way down to 5th place, with Real Madrid taking the title before Barcelona took it, and again and again and again. And I think you can see a familiar theme occurring here. They only beat Levante by 1 point that year though, before beating them by 2 points the year after. Again winning it from Levante, then from Real Madrid, before Getafe win the title, 4 points clear of Real Madrid. Finally somebody else wins it before Barcelona come back in and continue their dominance right up to the end point. Barcelona and their La Masia Academy, it took them a while, but they are very much in control of Spanish football once again. Getafe, the surprise team, coming in and getting a 1st place finish and then 2 2nd place finishes. They are not subject to a transfer embargo. You can see that slight upward curve in their history of positions, but they don't have that many incredible players, so they're doing quite well to punch above their weight. But Barcelona very much in charge, still under their transfer ban. But you can see from their squad, they're all Spanish, but they've got the very, very best players in there, like David Morales and Jamie Duran, Jimenez in there. Morales looks very good as a striker. 20 finishing will definitely help you win the league. You can see here, 32 goals, 30 goals. He is 268 goals from 408 games. He is going to be one of their all-time top scorers, and there is no doubt about that. A very, very good player to have generated from their academy. And he is the reason they are dominating their league at the moment. He's got a few years left at the highest level, and then they might start to falter. But at the moment, they are very much in charge of Spanish football. Now finally we have the Premier League, where last time we saw Huddersfield win the title by 1 goal over Wolves, with Liverpool getting relegated and Chelsea down there as well. The following year Wolves did get revenge by winning the title, Man United down towards relegation places. Huddersfield won it the year after that, Man City going straight back down in 20th place. They are just not able to compete. Chelsea just avoiding the drop by 1 point. Wolves did win the title the year after that. City again immediately getting relegated. Wolves won the title though. Barnsley up there in 4th place. Wolves again winning the title. Spurs and Liverpool both getting relegated. The following year, City again bouncing back down. Just 10 points and 1 win across 38 games. It's not the investment they would have liked to have seen. Huddersfield with the title. Wolves with the title. Huddersfield last year won the title by 5 goals, but Wolves won it a bit more comprehensively this time. The following year, Chelsea did finally get relegated, finishing bottom. So Arsenal and Manchester United, the last 2 big teams left in the Premier League at the moment. The following year, Aston Villa won the title. Spurs getting relegated again. Newcastle in 3rd place. Villa again winning the title. Manchester United down 2 points above the drop zone. Liverpool going straight back down as Villa again win the title on the same goal difference, same 1 draw, and I think they will have won the title because they scored 2 more goals but conceded 2 more. That is the closest title race I've seen in a long time. Newcastle down in 5th place, really frustrating. They weren't able to kick on and do well. The following year, Manchester United surviving relegation by 2 points. Villa at the top. Again, Villa winning the title. Spurs going straight back down. And at the moment, Huddersfield top of the table. But Aston Villa have come back to dominate the league now. 5 years in a row they've won the title. Wolves dropping off a bit after getting 5 and 6. And Newcastle just nowhere to be seen after their initial brief period of dominance. They've just completely dissipated as a force and are now well down in the league positions. Aston Villa doing very, very well. Climbing up the league positions and now creating a period of dominance, the dominant team in English football for the past 5 years. So now we need to take a look at the European competitions. Now in the Europa League, we're going to do it looking at a tree sort of viewpoint, which is something you guys suggested in the comments. It'll allow you to see who's won the Europa League immediately, and you can see at the moment that Spurs won it last time that we had a look. The following year, Barnsley actually won the Europa League, knocking out Bayern Munich and Leipzig. Bayern Munich coming through quite dominantly. Spurs doing well, given they were flirting with relegation a lot in this episode to make it all the way to the semi-finals. The following year, Stuttgart won it, the dominant team in German football, no major surprises. It's very much full of fallen giants now, this competition. But Brighton, former Champions League winners, actually knocking out Aston Villa on the way through and winning the competition. Good to see English teams really getting back in here. Newcastle winning the Europa League, through on away goals against Bilbao, and then beating Tenerife on penalties in the final, finally winning a big competition. AC Milan won it the year after that, Tours making it quite far through. The same for Vittorio Guimaraes. Ipswich also doing very, very well. The following year, MK Dons won the Europa League. Fantastic stuff. I used to live in Milton Keynes, and I love that they've actually managed to do that. I'm not sure the AFC Wimbledon fans will be happy seeing that. They knocked out Sevilla, Lille, Tenerife, and then Leipzig in extra time. Sensational stuff to see MK Dons do that well. The following year, Leeds winning a European competition. English teams very much in control at the moment, but none of them made the semi-finals a year after. Norwich getting to the quarterfinals, and as did Newcastle, but Levante the eventual winners. The following year, Brighton beating Barnsley in the final, taking another Europa League title before Barnsley managed to win it the year after, beating Real Madrid 6-1 over 2 legs. Spal making the semi-finals as well. Wolves win it the year after that. Arouca, another Portuguese team, making the semis. The following year, Getafe managed to win it. A very good performance for them. And then the year after that, MK Dons win their second Europa League title, which I absolutely love. I love that they've managed to do that twice now, qualifying for the Champions League by winning the Europa League. Definitely the sensational story of this competition. I can't believe they've managed to do that, to be fair, because in their league history they've never been that great. Tend to be down in 15th, 16th, a couple of 5th place finishes, but those times they qualified for the Europa League, they've gone on to actually win it, which is sensational stuff. Now, when we left off in the Champions League last time, Brighton were the winners, managing to beat Stuttgart in the final. I'm expecting to see a lot of Stuttgart in this final with a team that they've put together, especially in the last sort of 10 years that we have a look at. Now, the following year, Newcastle so close to another Champions League, but Wolves beating them to it. 3 English teams in the semi-finals again. The following year, Wolves win the Champions League, again beating Barcelona on penalties. Leeds getting almost to the final, losing to Barcelona. The following year, Racing Club de Lens do get their title. No English teams in the semi-finals and only 1 in the quarterfinals. A real fall from grace for English teams that year. But the following year, they storm back. Wolves winning the title. 4 English teams in the semis, but Wolves beating Leeds, giving them heartbreak, and another European Cup for them. And they win it the following year, beating Real Madrid 3-0 as well, doing so well, Wolves, in European competitions. And again they win it, beating Racing Club de Lens, doing very well. The following year, Racing Club de Lens do get a bit of revenge, taking their title away from Huddersfield, Stuttgart knocking out Wolves. The following year, Huddersfield managed to win the title 3-1 over Wolves. Aston Villa just being pipped by Huddersfield in the semi-finals. The following year, it's Racing Club de Lens who win it 1-0 over Aston Villa, before Aston Villa finally get that European Cup in there to match their league dominance. I'm surprised we've seen nothing from Stuttgart given how strong their team is, but Racing Club de Lens win it the following year. Aston Villa getting it the year after that, and the year after that as well. Another 2 European Cups for them. If we have a look at the past winners of the competition now, you can see that Aston Villa, so long after they first won the European Cup back in 81-82, they have finally come back to win it again some 60 odd years later. 3 European Cups they now have, but the real story is Wolves, who came to win their first one not too long ago. They've now won 7 European Cups, in the final of a few more as well. Newcastle did manage to get another European Cup in there. That is their 4th European Cup. Oh, they didn't win the European Cup, but win the Europa League. I'm being an idiot. Racing Club de Lens now with 5 European titles, which is good news for them. Huddersfield have got a couple as well. Brighton stuck on 4, not able to get that 5th one. But Wolves very much the dominant English team in the Champions League now. More Champions League titles than any other English team. Although Aston Villa are going to try and lay siege to that record over the coming years, you have to think. They are the dominant team in Premier League football, and if you look at their senior squad, you can see why. £71 million player in there, Lionel Bordet, the left winger, who looks phenomenal. They signed him from Levante for £59 million, and he's just been incredible for them. Other key players in there, if we can go back to Aston Villa. Other key players in there, you've got Felipe, 56 million, 55 million on Kingdon. Just a lot of very expensive players all through the team, actually. There's very few that are under £20 million, which is why they're able to dominate so much. If we look at their general information, you can see a £1.14 billion valuation of the club now. So very much the dominant force in world football right now. But that is going to be it for this part of the experiment. Now, as I said before, if you guys are still interested in keeping this going, I will do another part in a few days' time where we take a look at what the final 10 years look like. We'll also do a quick review of the entire transfer ban, and then we will have a look at what teams might rise from the ashes and dominate European football again once the transfer ban comes to an end. But if you want to see a different experiment, just let me know in the comments, and we can always move on to something else if you're not that interested in this one anymore. But do drop a like on the video, as I said. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, or support me on Patreon. All the links are in the description if you want to do any of that. But until next time, see ya!